Ihe mbụ m hụrụ nke tụkwara m n'anya oge anyị rutere n'akụkụ osimiri ahụ bụ ya osimiri n'onwe ya, ya nakwa ụgbọ mmiri nke lirini na-eche ibu ya. The first object which saluted my eyes when I arrived on the coast was the sea, and a slave ship which was then riding at anchor and waiting for its cargo. When I looked around the ship and saw a large furnace or copper boiling and a multitude of black people of every description chained together, every one of their countenances expressing dejection and sorrow, I no longer doubted of my fate, and quite overpowered with horror and anguish, I fell motionless on the deck and fainted. O tekweghị aka ha esi n'elu ebe m nọ n'elu ụgbọ mmiri ahụ buda m n'okpuru ya. N'ime ebe ahụ ha bunyere m, isi ọjọọ bịara kpojuo m imi. Isi ọjọọ ahụ na akwa mbere budakwara mmụọ m ala. Nke a mere m jiri nwee ike rie ihe ọbụla. I was soon put down under the decks, and there I received such a salutation in my nostrils as I had never experienced in my life. I now wished for the last friend, death, to relieve me. But soon, to my grief, two of the white men offered me eatables, and on my refusing to eat, one of them held me fast by the hands and led me across, I think, the windlass, and tied my feet while the other flogged me severely. I had never experienced anything of this kind before, and although not being used to the water, I naturally feared that element the first time I saw it. Yet, nevertheless, could I have got over the nettings, I would have jumped over the side. The crew used to watch very closely those of us who were not chained down to the decks, lest we should leap into the water, and I have seen some of these poor African prisoners most severely cut for attempting to do so.
Some wet and blowing weather having occasioned the portholes to be shut and the gratings to be covered, fluxes and fevers amongst the negroes ensued. While they were in this situation, I frequently went down among them, till at length their rooms became so extremely hot as to be only bearable for a very short time. But this excessive heat was not the only thing that rendered their situation intolerable. The deck, that is the floor of the rooms, was so covered with the blood and mucus which had proceeded from them in consequence of this flux that it resembled a slaughterhouse. It is not in the power of the human mind to picture a situation more dreadful or disgusting. Numbers of the slaves, having fainted there, were carried upon deck, where several of them died, and the rest with great difficulty were restored. It had nearly proved fatal to me also. The climate was too warm to admit the wearing of any clothing but a shirt, and that I pulled off before I went down, notwithstanding which, by only continuing among them for about a quarter of an hour, I was so overcome with the heat, stench and foul air that I nearly fainted, and it was only with great assistance that I came on deck. The consequence of which was that I soon after fell sick of the same disorder, from which I didn't recover for several months.